Okay, let's begin now, Be'ez Hashem, Perek Chof Tes. So let's get our bearings a little bit with what we're going to be discussing over here. So in the three previous Parakim that we've been going through, we've been mega discussing answers, ideas, advice for people how to prevent sadness, depression, being down. So Perek Chof Vov was depression from Averis. Perek Chof Zayin was the thoughts that a person has when he's working, when he's at the office, when he's in the warehouse. And Perek Chof Ches was all the thoughts that come to a person in the middle of davening, middle of Avodas Hashem, and how to avoid those negative thoughts and what to do with them. Okay, Perek Chof Tes now begins how to prevent Timtum Halev. Timtum Halev is like a spiritual contamination that's on a person's heart. We, or those that know the expression, is generally used when a person is eating something not kosher, when a person is eating something treif, that causes a timtum halev, the spiritual layers over his heart that sort of blocks up seeing the light, which we will get to Be'ez Hashem here in Perek Chof Tes in more detail. So let's begin. Oid achas tzorich loshis eitzos benafshois habeinenim. There needs to be another eitzah for the neshamas of the beinenim, that they also have to be able to listen to their souls. What is that? Asher lefa'omim v'itim rabim, many times. Yesh lem timtum halev shenasa keven. That means, and by the way, I don't know, maybe you never experienced this, but people do experience this. They feel no feeling for Yiddishkeit. They come to a davening, they feel like a stone. Like, the words mean nothing to me, the whole davening has no feeling. They go to the Kaisel, nothing whatsoever. You come to Rosh Hashanah davening, you don't feel anything. You come to a Leila Seder, it doesn't, like, you don't feel anything. Sometimes in Yiddishkeit you feel like a stone. That's what the Tanya is telling us. Yeshlem timtum halev shenasa keven. Your Yiddishkeit, your Avodas Hashem feels like your mamish, a dry stone, a rock. It's not moving anywhere. No emotion, no geschmack, no excitement in what you're doing. You cannot open up. You have not matzliach to open up your heart. V'gam. Not only that, in addition to that, it's a long peg, by the way. It's going to take us probably at least 3 days, okay? So just bear with us. When a person wants to do what we call Kaddish Atzam Mutalai, it's a much higher madrega than fighting the Averis, right? You're trying to Kaddish yourself by not doing the things that are actually permitted, the Ramban and Parshas Kedoshim, right? Don't be Menuvah B'Shvat Torah. So he's telling us not only you're not able to open up your heart for Tefillah, for Avodas Hashem, you're also not able to fight your Yetzer Hara, to Mekadosh yourself with that which is going to be mutar. And in order to do that, you need a much higher madrega, much more positive geschmacke energy for that to happen. V'zoysi eitza yutza bezoya kodesh. If you want the eitza from the Zoya, the Oma Rav Mesifta Began Eden. The Rosh Yeshiva Gan Eden said the following: A'or delo solik bei nehora, which means if a wooden beam is not igniting, if you can't get a wooden piece to light on fire, mevatshin lei v'cholei, which means crush it, break it. And what are we learning from there? The nimshal is gufa, a body, a human soul. He can't ignite the fire, the geschmack, the feeling, the energy, the emotion that he has in his neshama. The Zohar Kodesh tells you, I'll tell you what to do. You break it. Perish. That the or of his gewaldige neshama and the seichel is not illuminating that much. It's not enough, it's not illuminating enough to be able to prevent him from all of his physical desires and his urges that he has. Which means that the more the body, the physical body, is involved, immersed in physical pleasures, physical things, it's very hard for him to ignite the fire of Yiddishkeit and the geschmack and the passion of Avodas Hashem. And we're seeing that there's no shaila, right? More and more in our generation, where it's very difficult to get the youth to have a real geschmack in Yiddishkeit, to have that real connection with Avodas Hashem, what it means to daven, what it means to have a munah b'tochen, a Shabbos Kodesh. It's not easy. And the reason, again, Tanya says it all comes from the Zohar Kodesh, is because the more a person is immersed in physical pleasures, physical pursuits, in his body, in whatever is surrounding him in a physical way, the harder it is to ignite the soul. Avada, he knows in his seichel, in his intellect, he knows about the godliness of Hashem. It's not a secret. He's not unaware. That means at the end of the day, it doesn't grasp the godless of the Rabbeinu Shalom to be able to prevent all of the urges that his physical body is pushing him towards doing. And because of that, he's not able to ignite that soul. He's not able to ignite that piece of wood. So if you want to know the reason, why are you missing this spiritual awakening? Is gasas haklipa. Shemagbia atzma al or kedushas nefesh alikis umasteres umachshicha oira. In other words, if you take the biggest fire in the world, if you smother it with enough, planks of wood, it's going to go out. You're going to smother the fire. You could do that. You could smother the flame of anything. And therefore, your neshama is so great and so pure, and Yiddishkeit is so gewaltig, and dveikus and all that is amazing. But at the end of the day, if you smother it with physical pleasures and with gashmias and all the physical taivas that you have and the urges that you go towards, then the layers of dirt, which is what we call the beginning of Perek Chavtes, the Timtum Alev, just sort of go higher and higher and thicker and thicker and thicker. Ulezois tzorich levatsha ulashbila la'afa. This is what the Zohar Kodesh was telling us. We need to crush it. We need to crush the guf, which means we need to raise it down to the ground. When a person is broken, then he's less sure of himself, and he's more open to ruchnius. You should make specific times for yourself to be able to be sort of a low, almost despised person. Like the Apostle says in Tehillim Tezvav, "V'leiv nishbar ruach nishbar, hi asitra acha, shehi hi adam atzmai bebeinanim." Even though we said in Perek Chav Zayin and Perek Chav Vav that we said that the sitra acha comes from averis, we're talking about a beinani. A beinani, as we know, and we've explained many times, does not do averis. Over here, what we mean over here is that the Beini himself has a pre-existing negative energy that's built within him from the time that he's born. And that's what he says, and the nefesh that you have inside you, Nema, what does it say? And we say this every morning, Neshama shenasata bi tahora hi. Listen how the Tanya teaches up the Lashon of this tefillah that we say every morning in Shachris. Shenasata bi daika, meaning, you are not your neshama. In a chanama, we have two souls over here, but we only have one self. And the Beinani identifies with the bodies and the nefesh and nefesh and the kiss, just that they're able to have more power over their body, because that's what's ruling them. So when we have a like, when we have a passion, when we have even when it comes to anything that it may be, it's not so to speak the neshama, it's us. That's the difference. That's what it said. Neshama shenasata be, the neshama that you put in me. It's not, yes, it's intertwined, but it hasn't become one. Ki im betzadikim. The only exception is tzadikim. Shebehem hu lehepach. By them it's faket. Sheneshama tahui shenefesh adikis hu adam. That they identified themselves with the neshama. They become the neshama. That's the controlling force of their neshama. The gufanikwa basa odam. By tzaddikim, their bodies are not really, their core, their identity. Their bodies is just is a piece of flesh. By tzaddik, their bodies is not anything. It's a piece of flesh, piece of physical flesh. That's what it is. They are their neshamas. By regular people like us, that's not the case. Well, my Hillel HaZaken, to a couple more minutes. Azal tell us in the Medrash by Hillel HaZaken that when Hillel HaZaken was going to eat, he would say, what would he say? And I used to ask him, where you go, Rebbe? Where are you going? Shu hoylech ligmol chesed im ha'luva va'aniya hugufay. Zuk Hillel, where am I going? I'm going to do chesed with this poor, horrible, miserable creature called my body. I'm doing chesed. I'm pasha feeding my body. That's how it was. It's not him. It's my body, which is a physical piece of flesh, that I'm doing chesed by feeding right now. It was like something foreign to him. It wasn't him. He didn't identify as his body. He was his neshama. He was a nefesh elikis. He happened to have a body because that's how you live in the world, and that's how you breathe, and that's how you walk, and that's how you talk. But it was k'moy zor nechshavetzloi. V'lachein, that's why Hillel Zaken said, Oma shu goimel chesed imoy b'masha mechina. I'm doing chesed with my body because I'm feeding it. It was not, I'm feeding me. We would say, I'm saying I assume that the owner would say, I'm eating lunch, I'm eating dinner because I'm feeding me. But Hillel wasn't feeding me. Me is my neshama. Neshama is pure, doesn't need any food. It needs spiritual food, not physical food. Memela, when he fed his body, I'm feeding the flesh that's around me. Because he himself, Hillel Zaken, was only nefesh elikis. Ki hi levad me'achad guf ha'basar. Sha'ava shoy b'nefesh ha'chiyunis ha'mulabeshes b'domai u'basar nehapech l'toiv v'nechla b'kedush nefesh elikis mamash b'tzadikim. As we've spoken about it, the by tzadikim, the nefesh elikis doesn't. The nefesh bahamis, the nefesh bahamis does not have its own identity. It doesn't have, by us, it's got a separate identity and it has its own rotzen, its own wills, what it wants to do. By its tzaddik, the nefesh bahamis does not have its own identity because by its tzaddik it's been transformed. And we've spoken about this many, many times. Now it's all coming together. It's been transformed and basically been absorbed in the nefesh elikis. So that's what it came to there. Let's just finish off. Avol b'beinani. Ma'ach shabahusu batzmusa shenefesh elachiyunis habahamish misitra acha hamulubeshes bedoma b'soroi loy nepach l'toiv. It hasn't yet. He's a beinani. He's not a tzaddik. Right? And again, we've spoken about this. That's not our avodah. We're not meant to do that. That's fine. Don't be depressed and upset about it because that's not what we were put into the world for. It's not being turned and transformed into toiv. He ha'adam atzmai. That is the person himself. That is the beinani's identity. That's what we're saying. So once again, we're going to continue tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. But the point over here he's trying to make and trying to explain in a very clear manner is to recognize that when a person feels like a stone and he feels no avodas Hashem, no excitement, no energy, no geschmack, no emotion, it's because of the timtum alev. And it's all coming from what the Zohar says is because a person has got this physical pursuit of things that he's doing with his body and beyond, that's what caused the timtum alev. And he's going to give some eitzah and that Be'ez Hashem will continue tomorrow. Shkoyach.